Evil crimes and cute animals. You would think this would be a match made in heaven. But as Netflix's disturbing Tiger King taught us, it can also be a match made in hell. If you're an animal lover and you think Netflix's Tiger King will be a cheerful docuseries about tigers, you're very wrong. This series is about the crimes and how big cats are getting treated across the United States. Did you know there are more tigers in American zoos than there is in the wild? Crazy. If you've been on the internet in the last month, you definitely are aware of Joe Exotic, the infamous Tiger King. Joe Exotic is a big cat enthusiast who bred and kept hundreds of exotic animals at his JW Zoo in Oklahoma. His collection included tigers, lions, ligers, bears, and monkeys. Carole Baskin, a big cat activist, criticized Joe for breeding big cats, and she claimed that his petting business was endangering the animals. If you've seen the Netflix series, you're aware that Joe attempted to hire a hitman to kill Carole, which resulted in Joe being convicted on 19 different counts and sentenced to 22 years in prison in January 2020. But what were those 19 other counts? How many tigers were actually harmed in the production of Tiger King? While watching this video, drop a comment and let me know. Was Joe Exotic wrongfully keeping these animals? Does he deserve all these charges? Joe Exotic was convicted for 9 counts of violating the Endangered Species Act from 2006 to 2018. As much as he claimed to be an animal lover, Joe Exotic actually ended up harming some of his animals. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, the jury heard evidence that Maldonado Passage personally shot and killed 5 tigers in October 2017, without a veterinarian present and in violation of the Endangered Species Act. Baskin, the founder and CEO of Big Cat Rescue, has long been an outspoken critic of Joe Exotic's. She accused him of not giving his cats enough space, breeding them to be sold, and often criticized him for profiting off the animals through his zoo, something that many argue she did herself. When initially watching the series, the first sign of animal abuse is almost immediate, 30 minutes into episode 1 to be precise. This episode mentions a news story in which a man set his private exotic animal collection free. Many of those animals, which included 18 tigers, were shot in an effort to save civilians, and photos of the bodies are shown. More graphically, episode 2 opens on harrowing footage of one of Joe Exotic's employees getting mauled by a tiger. This is an obvious result of the tigers being wrongfully contained. If these tigers were happy in the zoo, like how Joe claims, they wouldn't be mulling the arms off a human. Also, at the end of episode 4, there's also footage of a man punching a tiger after the animal attacked him. You could only imagine what other animal abuse would be happening behind the scenes. Another example of Joe Exotic's animal abuse towards tigers is the way he handles them after birth. You can see Joe Exotic tear tiger cubs only minutes old away from their mother so that they could become props in his cub meeting scheme is not a scene I will quickly forget. He handles them in a rough manner, which definitely isn't natural. Tigers need to be with their mothers after birth and to be provided with breast milk. Tearing the cubs away from their mother immediately disrupts the upbringing of these animals and how they are meant to be brought up. Imagine if as soon as the humans were born, some superior species grabbed newborn babies and treated them like exotic toys. This is the abusive behavior that Joe Exotic exhibits to his tiger cubs. The issues aren't just Joe Exotic, however. It can be argued that Carole Baskin also displays abusive acts towards animals. Big Cat Rescue founder and Joe's nemesis, Carole Baskin, claims that she doesn't hire animal caretakers. Carole has almost manipulated people to thinking that they are doing a good deed for exotic animals, and she has managed to recruit people that will do the stuff free. However, the degree of care and attention that these animals need is immense, as well as the expertise required for someone to take care of these animals. The fact that these animals are being looked after by random, inexperienced people is discomforting, and the notion that just anyone would come along to do it can be considered abusive. Along with this, throughout the whole entire series, there are countless shots of repeated animal abuse via exotic animals being caged, poked, underfed, underexercised, forced to perform, petting zoos, forced breeding, sold for profit, and etc. Joe Exotic was struggling financially because of the lawsuit he was facing. Joe knew that the tiger cubs brought in a lot of profit to his business. Therefore, Joe had no option but to keep breeding tiger cubs for money. But for anyone who knows anything about tigers, they grow up extremely quickly. Now Joe is faced with the problem of having to feed hundreds of massive tigers, which can cost up to $10,000 a year just to feed one. Joe's tigers were getting severely underfed as a result of this. So if you're an animal lover, this show probably wasn't an easy watch for you, for the sole reason that there's animal abuse spread throughout the entire series. It's hard to determine the exact amount of animals harmed during the production of the Tiger King, but it can be estimated that at least 50 animals were harmed severely, and almost all of the 250 tigers at the zoo were abused in some sort of way. Leave a comment on the video and let me know what you think about caging these animals. Do you think it's wrong, or do you think it's saving the species? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.